Well, I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent with you on a beautiful Friday morning. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Hayfeed and Ranch. Stop on by, get your pre-immersion, get your grass looking nice, your fields weed-free. They probably got stuff that can take care of the weesatch, too, if you got weesatch.
It's called diesel.
Yeah.
What's that stuff you put in it? Is it Demon?
Something in there, yeah. You mix it with the diesel, and you light it all on fire.
No. You spray the top, but you spray around the base, and it does kill it. It's an endless thing. It's like acne on a teenager. I remember going and seeing, I don't remember which guy it was. At the time, it was a big deal to go to Dr. Likes. That's who I went and saw, Fred Likes. And my mom said, Doc, what can we do? You know, Brent's 15, and we're just concerned. We don't want his skin to get worse. And he goes, oh, it's no problem. In about 3 years, it'll go away. Yeah. You ever notice how kids today don't seem to have the acne, in large doses, don't have the acne challenges that we had?
It's because they're all on meds for it.
Are they? Or is it, I mean, you know, the generic exaggeration of, is it the steroids in the chicken?
Could be.
I mean, you know, you see 12-year-old girls now with a C cup, and you see 14-year-old men with a full beard.
True story.
I've been to junior high games. I mean, puberty's one thing. Caveman maturity level is a whole nother thing. It used to be when we were kids, and welcome to the listeners on Magic 95.9, you know, they say that little girls develop quicker than little boys, and that's true and observable. And by and large, Hispanic kids mature quicker than Anglo kids. They do. I can tell you that we had a kid when I was in junior high that we all called Big John. He was big. He scared us to death.
I got to high school and
he was 5'7" and weighed about 200 pounds. You know, I'm like, okay, Big John. Still called him Big John. Started blocking his shot with my armpit. But we're great friends. But I'm just saying, he was a man. Yeah. You know, and then all of a sudden I was like, hey, Chewy, come here. You're muy poquito. Wade and Carter weather, 68 degrees under cloudy skies in Victoria, heading to a high today of 82. Like to welcome in listeners from all over. We're very blessed to have, it's amazing when Lilo Arguelles, the guru over at Magic, brings up the analytics. He has access to all types of data, and we really are consistently listened to in about a dozen countries. Yeah. It's an amazing, amazing thing. It makes you wonder what the people at the next level, the Glenn Becks, does he have like 10,000 listeners in Germany? Probably. I mean, it's amazing. You would think it would give us a certain responsibility to be correct and all that. It does not. And I think that's why
that's intrinsic.
I think that's why the show's interesting, is because it's just a conversation. Patrick Strauss checking in this morning prompted me to bring up Astros.com. I'm trying to look if
he's on the podium along with Mark Kurtz and Amanda King.
Yeah, the Astros have decided to retire number 13, the number 13 of Billy Wagner. Only the 10th number to be retired in Astros history.
Good
Let's
move
see
by
if
them,
they get it. Yeah, class move. The guy's a Hall of Famer.
There's the Scotts, Snow and Tomko, and Judge Posey. Good morning, Bobby Leister,
morning,
Mark Cepeda, Daniel Wade White checking in, Greg Garcia, Lisa Poole, Will Vincent. Good morning, Linda Chris, David Glass, Tammy Keelan, Randy Langston, Andrew Alvarez, Stephanie Connie, Ricky King says just a little diesel and Remedy. That's the stuff.
Remedy, that's it. Thank you, Ricky.
Junior Samples, your mom. Good
Hi,
morning,
Mom. Love you, babe.
She remembers. Lisa Poole remembers Big John.
Yeah, Big John. Big John, like at the end, by the time I was a senior in high school, it was like sarcastic.
Yeah.
It's like jumbo shrimp.
Jordan Glass. Justin Glass, Eric Jacobs, Jarrett McCrugen, good morning, Marvin Mickish, BJ Nelson checking in.
Here's why I like Astros.com. By the way, Astros.com, very user-friendly webpage and
Jackie Parsons.
very fan-centric. The reason I clicked on the article about Wagner, since he's the 10th Astro to be retired, is to see who the other Astros are. How many of these names from the past jump out at you? I do not know anything about Jim Umbricht. I'm going to bet he played for the Colt 45s back in the day. He was number 32. Don Wilson, Jose Cruz, Mike Scott, Nolan Ryan, Larry Durker, Jimmy Wynn, Jeff Bagwell, and Craig Biggio, all clearly deserving.
Jim Umbricht?
Umbricht, Umbricht. Jackie
I'm going
Parsons.
to guess.
I bet he played with the Colt 45s.
I'm going to guess that, and he probably died at a young age.
Tragically.
That's my guess. It's my guess.
Judge Posey, good to see you checking in. My brother wanted to let you know we did reach out to your cousin, Bill Posey, yesterday. Called him out over some of his politics, politely, of course. Okay, I want to make sure you were there. Jackie Parsons checking in. I want to ask you, Miss Jackie, do I need to be, is it Balon?
He had cancer.
There you go. Who did he play for, though?
Played for the Pirates and the Colt 45s. His career record of 9-5 with a 3.06 and 133 strikeouts.
So that was an emotional retiring. I mean, I'm not putting that down. It was not about his prowess between the
Died at
lines.
the age of 33.
Bless his heart.
And his ashes were spread over the construction site of the Astrodome.
So Jackie's chiming in real time there. Balon, call it. It could be, I don't care what it is. It's napalm for the pre-emergent. Do I really need to be super concerned about using a broadcast spreader in my backyard where my chickens free roam? I went online and said, be careful. It could cause problems with your chickens if ingested. And my birds, while quite brilliant, could step up and do something ignorant. I kind of want your feedback on that. And I could leave them in the coop and just water it down really good. I guess if it was soft and mushy, they might not eat it. But I'm concerned. I don't want to put it out and have like radioactive eggs.
I don't think you will. I think if you give it a little time to water in and dry, then you'll be good.
Okay. Well, that's why I didn't ask you. I asked Jackie Parsons. I wish we could get Jackie to give us a call at 894-4020.
We got to leave the line open.
We do, because Congressman Cloud's going to call at 7:30.
Yes.
Very exciting. Congressman Cloud just on a roll up there. But if Jackie called us at 894-4020, what I would do is get her to give you a live version.
There you go. She says, pin him up for a few days.
And it's okay just to leave him in that little coop for a few days.
Yeah, as long as he got food and water, it'll be fine.
Look, chicken whisperer, I'm talking to the boss. Here, I'm getting a phone call right now. Give me the Bluetooth over there. Good morning, Wade and Carter. Thanks for calling. Oh, hang on.
Hold on. Technology.
Let's try that again. You there?
I'm here.
Ever so softly on a Freeform Friday. Can you give us that backyard call that you use when you need the help in the backyard?
That what now? I cut out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. When you walk out the back of the warehouse there and you were calling to the boys back by the Quonset hut?
Yeah.
I
cannot.
Go ahead. Come on, Jackie. Come on. It's a Friday. Give us the call.
Okay, here we go.
That brings them running.
The children of the corn come running.
They're like their little heads popped up from behind bags of seed and fertilizer and all. What does she want? How are things?
That works for all of our stock show kids, and we'd be at a show and we got 3,000 kids to try and find RS-15 through, I would make that call, and those kids knew to come towards that sound.
Atta girl. Yeah, I can be at the mall and there's a high pitched whistle I can do, and you can just see their heads snap. They've learned that,
Oh, yeah.
that is the way to do it. Well,
Yes, sir.
Brent's worried he's going to leave his chickens in that little chicken coop that he has for a few days, and it's going to damage them psychologically for life.
They're jammed up on top of you. I got 8 of them in a spot that's probably 5 feet long and 3 feet wide. I actually have some empathy for my birds. I'm not just, which is why I get 8 eggs out of 8 chickens every day, because I'm
You're doing
good.
something right.
I'm good to them. Happy chickens, lots of eggs.
Well, but we also want to remember when you're putting out that bayland, you're going to put it out, you're going to water it in and let it sit. And I would keep your chickens cooped up for about 3 days. And they won't be too mad if you give them a little extra feed and a little extra grain. But let that sit in there for 3 or 4 days and let them stay off of it. That way you're going to be able to do what you need to do for your yard and also keeping your pets and your chickens safe.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you so much. And I want to tell
And
you.
if you want really happy chickens, go get some mealworms from Deerlam.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Give
they
them
love
some,
those
give them some
mealworms.
treats.
I want to tell you while we have you on the air that we really enjoy the partnership that we share with Deerland
Oh,
Feed, and you guys do a tremendous job as our sponsor. So,
Well, we appreciate all of y'all and everybody in the Detroit area that support this small business. It is family owned still to this day, family owned for over 50 years.
there you go. Well, we appreciate you and
Thanks,
hope you have
Jackie.
a great day.
All right, y'all too. Don't
Yes,
forget to
ma'am.
come look for that red. Don't forget to come look for the red funnel every now and then.
Call the
Y'all have a great
call the
morning.
boys one more time. Yeah, it's a Friday. I can get people to do all kinds of stuff. You know, it's like,
I'm
come
gonna
on,
have
come
to
on.
find the audio for that and isolate it, and that'll be
And
a
that could
sound
be one of our
effect.
calls.
Yep.
That would be
Yep.
great. We can put that on there and program it.
Andrew Alvarez says the 28th Amendment of the Constitution is the right of the people to keep and bear and breed chickens shall not be infringed.
Amen.
There we go.
Amen. That's coming from a future senator. So we have that going for us.
Scott Tompkins says you want really happy chickens, use them for eggs and not meat. And then,
Amen.
and then Will Vincent. Will. Brent, you can kill your chickens and fry them, so you don't have
Right.
to worry about them. Egg layers do not make good meat chickens.
Will Vincent tells Cody, I hope you get well, Cody. I sure need you back soon. Commander Cody's sitting today out. You know, he wasn't feeling too good for 2 days. And I think he actually had a conscientious moment where he was afraid he might get us sick.
Well, that, and I think you embarrassed him by outing him over his grabbing the syphilis test
Well,
instead of the COVID test.
Unbelievable post-nasal drip. I guess if you've got the drip, you've got to
Gotta
test.
test.
Linda Chris says keeping chickens is very interesting. Baby chicks are coming. You too can have your own chickens. Baby chicks coming March 1st. I think if it were me and I had to do it all again with the little coop that I've got that we bought for about $200, I think I would start with 6 birds instead of 8. Now, I love my 8 chickens, but bless their heart, they're packed in there like a Venezuelan family, and that troubles me a little bit.
But at least they're not a sanctuary city and your funding won't stop.
No, they do not get U.S. aid either, and the Attorney General is not shutting them down. Pam Bondi confirmed the other day. I'm assuming RFK Jr. was confirmed. A lot of blustering by the Democrats, but at the end of the day, they caved on everything.
Delayed the confirmation vote on Kash Patel.
Adam Schiff was up talking and boring people to death.
Well,
with his
but you know why?
filibuster.
You know why they did that?
Tell me.
They're all scared.
Well, yeah.
Even though he says he's not gonna weaponize the Department of Justice anymore. But Pam Bondi says, you know what? First move she did in getting in as the new Attorney General,
Pam Bondi adding to the hottest cabinet of all time.
said all funds to so-called sanctuary cities will be paused. And any jurisdictions that work to protect illegal immigrants from arrest will not see their funding either.
Have you seen this idiot known as Ilhan Omar chatting up?
Too
And
often.
she's so proud that the Somalian president, and last name is Hassan, she's so proud that he's our president. See, all those Somalis they came over here and they were smart. I mean, I got to give them credit. They all congregated in Minneapolis so that they could elect the person they want. And we were dumb enough to let them do it. And all of a sudden, which I guess is their right.
Couldn't stop them from doing it.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. But
that's why you had Chinatowns. That's why you had Little Italies. That's why you had.
You don't have any
German
Chinese
enclaves.
representatives.
Well, there's a few.
But at any rate, she talks about this guy as if he's her leader, her mentor, the person she goes to for advice. In Somalia, I looked up, they've got 18 million people. They're not much of a threat. Maybe we should just annex
I don't know.
Somalia.
They seem to be doing a pretty good job of running the high seas off of Africa and pirating ships.
Let's just take it over. It's on the coast. We'll build some condos.
Justice Department also sued Illinois, Chicago, and Cook County yesterday over their laws that limit the involvement of local police in the enforcement of federal immigration policies.
Cook County. The only reason I know Cook County is Chicago is because of
The Blues Brothers.
No. The Fugitive.
Oh, okay.
Remember Harrison Ford? Great movie. Great movie.
Be interesting to see what happens with that suit, since lots of California cities, New York, and other cities have similar statutes. So we'll see what happens here.
You know, I'm going to go a step further for you. You and I have agreed for a long time. This is a very random Friday. Anything could happen right here. There's no telling what direction the program is about to take. You and I have agreed for a long time that possibly the most empathetic villain of all time, a truly bad guy who deserved to be hated, but who you can't help but respect, is Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. Correct?
He's up there, yep.
He's the bad guy. You got a better villain, a more appreciable, not necessarily likable. Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive is even though he represents law enforcement, he's still the bad guy because we all feel empathy for Harrison Ford in the movie.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not spoiling anything. If you're so inept that you haven't seen that movie yet, you deserve to have it spoiled. But I love it when Harrison Ford turns and goes, "I didn't kill my wife." And Tommy Lee Jones says,
I don't remember.
no. He says, "I don't care." He is myopic, focused on the task of bringing that man back. You've been tried. You've been convicted. It's the law. I'm bringing you in. We're kind of there right now as a country. Brent Anderson, by the way, congrats to Brent Anderson and MSA Architects. I saw a list yesterday. I subscribed to a publication and a webpage called the San Antonio Business Journal. Brent Anderson has the 13th largest architectural firm in San Antonio.
Really?
Beautiful firm, beautiful people.
They do some nice work.
They do some amazing work. Yeah. I'm very proud of Brent.
His wife does some amazing work.
Yeah, she's really the designer, but Brent is the guy.
I'm just kidding.
He's the guy with the round glasses that looks kind of nerdy. That's the architect. He's the architect. Will Vincent likes Jack Nicholson in The Joker. Yeah, that's just a great character, and I don't disagree with you at all, Will. Great character.
I'll go back to the original Joker of the 60s.
Cesar
Romero.
Torrin Bales, good morning, sir. We're very excited. Going to have a call in a minute from Michael Cloud. So little going on in D.C.
Yeah,
I'm sure we won't have anything to talk
No,
about.
nothing at all.
Yeah.
President Trump said
I love that.
10,000 employees of the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, targets of job cuts.
He just laid everybody off.
Well, federal judge paused that, gave him another, month or so, or a couple months to mull over that package that would keep them on the payroll for 8 months. Who gets an 8-month layoff notice?
Wait,
nobody.
They changed that last night late?
Yesterday afternoon.
Tell me that's not just a leftist thing where the president makes a decision
and then they go to
and
court.
they run to court and find some sympathetic judge who needs to be replaced, who decides to go toe-to-toe with the president of the United States over something he wants to do.
This is the problem is Our country is very quickly being run by the courts and the judges at all different levels now. Not by the people and not by those who we elect. That's where we are as a country.
So if you're is this CNN?
I believe this is CNN. Yeah.
CNN's 5 things. The number 2 thing, something that happens every week in this country, but I'll tell you why it's significant. A Cessna plane with 10 people on board disappeared during a flight in Alaska, according to local and state officials. The small aircraft operated by Bering Air was en route Thursday evening to from Nome, both cities in western Alaska, separated by the Norton. Right, by the Norton Sound, soon to be called McKinley. Separated by the Norton Sound Inlet. Flight tracking data shows the plane was about 12 miles offshore when its position was lost. So, it crashed into the ocean. The search plane comes, blah, 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 including a midair collision between. So here's the deal. Investigators continue to probe 2 deadly incidents in recent weeks, including a midair collision between an Army helicopter and passenger jet and a medevac jet in Philadelphia that killed 7. They're pushing that agenda to the top, even though nowhere in the article do they blame Donald Trump and his FAA management for either of the big major incidents. They're tying it all together to keep it in the news. Man, there's been a lot of airwaves traffic.
Coming.
There's a lot of problems because of Donald Trump. That's CNN. You'll never convince me that Donald Trump had anything at all to do with the military helicopter getting hit by the airline wherever, or vice versa. And I also don't hold Joe Biden accountable for that. It'd be one thing if I stood here and espoused, that's Biden's fault. Those were Biden's people.
A lot of it can be tracked back to federal government COVID policies, which were mandated which I think both administrations.
Both.
Because Fauci?
Even though one of the ATC folks did say, we've been operating shorthanded for months. There was one guy doing 2 jobs, and that's how this happens. And he basically threw his hands up and said, the government has us hamstrung. But he didn't blame Biden or Trump either, nor do I. But they're trying to tie it. The other day, a Japanese Airlines plane bumps into a United plane, or a United plane's engine caught on fire. Trump. Impeach him. The airwaves aren't, the air is not safe.
Well, the air and the airwaves.
Unbelievable, these people.
So Southern California Edison says its equipment may have been associated with the ignition of the Hearst fire.
This is the substation, you'll recall, where there was a video that showed a kind of a blue, purple hue, and then all of a sudden, boom, it burst into flames.
This one burned for 8 days, didn't destroy any structures or lead to any deaths, just burned a bunch of brush. So, of course, they're going to take credit for that one.
Yeah. Wait, that little one over there?
That was the one. That was
us.
us. That was us.
That trash barrel that caught on fire? Yep, that's on us. Our bad.
Us. Yeah. Well, we know, the others were set by people.
Yeah. Caleb Shaw checking in. Thank you, brother. It's great to hear from you. Oh, Caleb Shaw with his tagline, taxation is theft.
Not wrong.
I think he's feeling good again. He's feeling good to be up this early and answer us.
Junior Sample says, let's find a conservative judge to overturn their bull snap. Well, that was the problem. They file it in districts that aren't, and so you'll never find a conservative judge to turn it over until you get to the Court of Appeals. Maybe.
Ricky King says, I can't believe the Democrats are already talking about impeaching Trump.
This is that moron out of Texas. And what's his name?
I don't know. Clyde.
See if I can find it.
What was his name? I don't know. He walks around with a cane.
Our congressman is going to call here in a few minutes. Yeah. I can't wait for that conversation. Do we want, as I find this, let's take our first break.
I'll tell you this. It used to be that impeachment was a big deal. Now it's just another arrow in the Democrats.
It's thrown around like racist and Nazi.
Yeah. Impeach.
Yeah. Doesn't mean anything anymore.
Impeach. Veracruz wristwatch. Get in today. I never, ever air. Get in today to Veracruz for Chicken Fried Friday. Now, you can have a chicken fried steak anytime, but Friday night is the time that folks gather and have chicken fried steak at Veracruz because they're celebrating the end of the week, and you cannot have Veracruz on Saturday or Sunday.
But
Man,
what
they're
you
good.
can do for Super Bowl is get over to the chopping block.
Yes, listen to this, folks. What, Wacky Wings, $4.99 a pound, pre-seasoned wings. They're great on the
Marinated,
grill.
yep. They're good in the
I've done
oven.
them in the air fryer.
I find them best in the oven on like a baking sheet
Yeah,
with a rim to keep the sauce on there. That's
as
that's
opposed
my
to
favorite
putting
way to
them
do
in
it.
the oven on a paper plate.
Yes.
Andrew Alvarez points out
Yeah.
it is Al Green and not the Reverend Al Green. Yeah. By the way, Senator Tuberville, Peter McNally, did not, I don't think he did claim that he recruited Mahomes. He was at Texas Tech from 2010 to 2012 as the head coach. Now, he may have known, he may have signed a letter back in the day when Mahomes was a sophomore in high school, although I did not know this. Patrick Mahomes had only played quarterback his sophomore, junior, and senior year in high school. He never played at any other level before he went to Texas Tech.
Everybody was recruiting Mahomes except for the school where he went to, right? Or, I mean, a bunch of schools were recruiting. I mean, I don't know what exactly with Tuberman. It might be Tuberville. It might be. He might be correct. I tried to recruit him.
Yeah, and Mahomes was there like 15 to 17 or 14 to 17. By the way, Peter McNally throws in talk sports, basketball, NCAA, Super Bowl.
Well, we don't talk about basketball.
We don't talk about the NCAA. We talk about NCAA, but we never talk about the NBA.
No.
And Peter, and thank you. I know that when we talk politics, it stings because your Democrats are such losers these days. USA Concrete Coatings, if you want to sand it, seal it, stain it, paint it, give them a call. They're the best of the best. That ad's not easy to do. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen's your go-to toe-to, begging you, pleading with you on these slick streets, be careful. Stay out of the ditch this weekend. If you do end up in trouble, just call Allen's. They will take care of you. Paravita Wellness, get in and get healthy. Get in and get healthy. Let Erica Briggs help you. By the way, if you're looking for a job, even part-time work, get in and talk to Erica about the new Vita Cafe. State-of-the-art, brand new. It's going to be a real fun place to go with a great menu of fresh, gluten-free, low-carb, low-cal, great product that you can enjoy. Go by and see Erica about a job. Snoop Doggy Dogg better get a jobby job because the government funds are drying up. The offices at 205, Mr. Geets and John Paul Hull created a beautiful place down here, somewhat of a monument to themselves. Love for you to come in and check out the space.
Without the statues.
Right, no statues. They took down the statues. The George Floyd statue may be coming. We're going to buy one from another city that's decided to take it down. Come in and see the offices at 205. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Next Thursday. Be there by 7.
Al Green.
The Reverend.
Yeah.
Let's stay together.
Suggested that Trump should be impeached after suggesting that the U.S. take over Gaza. Listen to this BS.
Listen to this idiot.
What the heck?
What? Well, let's all look at this idiot.
Just turn and look at me.
Right?
Ah, that's why. There
There
we
you
go.
go. Here we go. Showing off.
It's not a joke, especially when it emanates from the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world,
That's right.
when he has the ability to perfect what he says. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is no joke, and the
It
He
ain't
didn't
ethnic
call for
cleansing.
ethnic cleansing.
He just said relocate them.
And you know what? Temporarily, because Gaza's been bombed to smithereens and it's terrible. Can't live there. Why was it bombed to smithereens? Oh, because they're terrorists and they attacked Israel.
Yeah. Hi, Jeff Finley. Hi, Jenny
It's
Alvarez.
to whom it may concern,
Back on
ethnic
me.
cleansing in Gaza is not a joke, especially when it emanates from the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, when he has the ability to perfect what he says. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is no joke, and the Prime Minister of Israel should be ashamed, knowing the history of his people,
The Democrats, anti-Semitic. Very
and
interesting.
allow.
You ever see how, I don't know what it is about, and I'm just, I mean, call me racist. I don't care. It's always interesting, the black legislators they think it's kind of like when you're young and ignorant, and you go to Mexico. If I just talk loud and add an O, where's the restroom? Like, you think people are going to understand. You just say it loud and add an O. The brothers pontificate with no regard automatic transmission for fuel filters or what's really happening in the world. As long as you're loud.
Have you noticed they all
and black,
they all seem to
you got to listen.
Emulate or imitate the cadence of Barack Obama.
Yeah. Barack.
I think we've got the congressman calling in.
He has not called yet.
Okay.
I'm sitting here looking at, why are you so paranoid? He's a dear friend. We've got him.
David Ballard says,
Hey,
Al Green,
Dave.
one of the many idiot Democrats in Harris County.
Yeah.
There's plenty.
He lives over in that region, so he knows.
There's Janie Alvarez checking in, Jeff Finley. See who else we got.
Maybe I should talk to the congressman as Barack Obama. Michael, good morning. Michelle says hi. My kids are good. But why is that? Why is that? And you got that, there's that Jasmine Crockett. We're going to see him in the streets. We're going to see him in the restaurants.
Somebody had to pick up for, who was it, Sheila Jackson Lee?
Oh, Sheila Jackson Lee. I
Was
am
another
an
one?
idiot.
Was another one to tell them to go get him in the restaurants when they were in the restaurants the last time?
Linda Christ, it's funny you ask a question in jest. You go, wow, am I listening to a church sermon? You absolutely are. That's the way they present it, as if it's the voice of God. God wants us. I found Bernie Sanders quite embarrassing yesterday when he just really went off that the Palestinians have suffered so much. The Palestinians brought this upon you. Keep poking the dog, don't whine when you get bit. We told them in October not to attack Israel, but they did it anyway. Then they get their butt kicked. And now that they live in the rubble, oh, man, I feel sorry for me. Don't do it.
Yesterday was National Prayer
Excuse me, I have a
Breakfast.
phone
you
call
have a
coming in
call
on
too?
my
All right,
phone.
all right. You want to answer your phone or do you know how?
I'm answering my phone. We'll see if this person wants to talk to you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I was wondering if Wade there is there.
Right here, Congressman. Appreciate you calling on Brent's phone for me. That's
Once
really nice.
again, Brent Carter, concierge to the world. Michael Cloud text me. Do you have Netanyahu's phone number? Yes, I'll get it for you, Congressman. Unbelievable, sir. Welcome to the program. How are you?
Doing well.
Yes,
Good morning.
you are. Yes, you are doing well. Things are
Oh.
looking good up there, and we're proud of you.
Well, thank you. A lot going on. Of course, it's fun to watch the White House. We're working in Congress. I'm, trying to get us to make sure that we're doing what we can to back up what the president's doing and make sure that this lasts beyond his presidency.
How do you keep up?
It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable, Michael. It's just incredible that today I'm laying off 10,000 USAID workers. It's just amazing. It's beautiful, actually, but it's amazing.
Oh, yeah, it is wild to watch, especially when you're used to the pace that the city runs at, which is, if not backwards, as slow as molasses. But, it's amazing to see what the president's doing. I think the left is now regretting the fact that he had 4 years off to prepare for this.
No doubt. Hey,
They were too busy trying to hide their money in the Bahamas and Cayman Islands and places so they can bury it and not get caught when all this starts going. The U.S. aid just explodes.
If you think what it's taken to keep the left alive as a viable party, I guess, so to speak, or movement in the United States, I mean, we're finding out that the federal government was, essentially a money laundering scheme in so many ways to tune the billions of dollars for their ideology. And then that wasn't working well enough, so they had to put a censorship regime on top of that to keep dissenting voices silent. And still, that wasn't enough to keep freedom at bay.
But I will say this: it wasn't. I mean, this transcends the Biden administration because some of this stuff was still going on under the Trump administration the first time, and back to Barack Obama. It just shows you the machine that was in place, and how very little those that didn't want to upset the apple cart didn't tell people that could have stopped things or made a difference of what was really going on. They kind of hid things and swept them under the rug and buried them in, 1,300 page bills that you only had 2 hours to read before they had to pass them. It's crazy.
They didn't, the idea that Trump in his first term, I'm not surprised a lot of this graft and corruption went on because he was a pure outsider, had no way to ferret down into the tunnels of where all the corruption was.
And when he tried, all those quit and said, he's a dictator.
So here's
and these agencies aren't forthcoming with information, so when we try to dig in and find research and everything, it's actually surprising when we get honest answers from them. We had that investigation into the ATF that showed how they were basically collecting data, all these firearm records on the American people. And it was, the fact that we actually got an answer on it was kind of surprising, first of all.
But it took forever.
But then the second round of questioning, of course, they never answered.
No, of course not.
So shift gears with me. You are well known as being a constitutionalist and a guy who understands the Constitution, studies the history of it. I want to ask you one. Our audience is very well versed that USAID was created in 1961 with an executive order. It was later somewhat backed up with a bill, if you will, in 1998, I think. And the idea is that, yes, the legislative branch can create agencies within the executive branch, and we get that. The court case that's going to come, this is me summing it up with my research. The court case that's going to come is, while Trump may not be able to do away with U.S. aid ultimately, is the president forced to distribute funds simply because they're allocated by Congress? For example, if you say, we're going to fund that deal for $5 billion, and he goes, that's fine, it'll be sitting there when I leave. Can he do that?
That you'll hear a discussion on what they call impoundment, and it's whether the president can basically find savings for the American people. Like if we say, hey, here's, a few $1 million to build a bridge, and he can find somebody who can do it cheaper, is that okay?
Right.
I think the American people, and for the vast majority of history, that was the case. Congress passed a law saying that was not able to happen, but it's viewed by many, including this administration, that law is unconstitutional. And I think, just a cursory reading of the Constitution, a plain sense reading of the Constitution,
yes, sir,
is that the executive authority rests in the executive. And so, he certainly has that ability. And the thing that I like to see is the fact that they're acting. They're erring on the side of action as opposed to us wasting time, because, the bureaucracy wants more than anything just to exist.
Yes, sir. By the way, on a personal aside, I'll take it as an unspoken compliment that you don't seem shocked that I actually knew what I was talking about. Because I think there was a time that you would have gone, really? You thought about that on your own? Okay. We've been keeping up, and one way we keep up is through your weekly newsletter, your report card to the boss. Tell folks real quick, www. How do they get it?
Cloud.house.gov. Go to
cloud.house.gov.
And I think there's a pop-up or a link usually that you can sign up for the newsletter. And again, we don't spam you. And
not at all.
That's also not.
It's not where you donate.
That's not a campaign thing either. So
Ash has
completely separate.
And that is where I saw.
Yeah, he's got a comment, a quote from the Daily Wire.
Oh, yeah, there's that. But your news.
Oh, here we go.
On the Dismantle DEI Act, the bill that you introduced.
That's not the sexiest name.
No,
like you just can't. It can't be like
we've talked about this.
The good for everybody chicken in every pot dismantling of the DEI Act. That's the kind of stuff. It's got to be catchy, Congressman.
I think it could have been renamed the SAD Act, Save America from DEI.
Right. The SAD Act.
Ah,
Right.
that's good. Yeah.
So tell us about this bill and how it came about. And I mean, you're getting a lot of attention for this bill, and rightly so.
Yeah, it's you know, it's awesome to see what the president has been able to accomplish just in 2 weeks in office, and in regards to, you know, getting DEI out of our federal government, out of these agencies. We see now that the government isn't force feeding this on the American people. We see the market, in a sense, coming around to it, because they realize that these policies are not working for their business either. They're divisive. They are not. They don't create a healthy environment in a country or in a business. But the important thing is we can't just sit back as Congress and let the president do all the work, because anything that can be done through executive action can be undone through executive action. And so we had actually introduced this last term with at the time Senator J.D. Vance, and so he's not in the Senate anymore, or at least not as a senator. As president of the Senate, of course, as vice president. But Senator Rush took it up and is leading the charge in the Senate, and then we've introduced it in the House once again to codify what the president's doing, to make sure that we get it out of all the agencies, it stays out of all the agencies, but also what the Biden administration was doing to, if you had a company that wanted to do business or do work for the federal government, you had to adopt these practices within your own business,
Right.
in order to get a government contract.
Certainly
and so
coercive.
This is the way that they were force feeding this leftist ideology on the American people, and so this stops all of those practices, make sure it doesn't come back into our federal government.
Well,
It would be
and the
akin to the
banks-
state. It would be akin to the state saying, if you want state funding for your schools, you've got to teach evolution. It would be. It's like that. That's a similar coercive move. We hold the purse, and if you don't do X, Y, and Z, we ain't giving you no money.
Well, and the banks were doing this. The banks were doing, they were determining whether your ESG scores were good enough to lend you money as a business venture.
Yep.
So if you were relying on oil and gas and a trucking company, they might not lend you money. But if you were putting in solar panels, all day long they'll lend you the money. And then all of a sudden we find out with the switch of administration that these banks are now getting out of the DEI business.
What's on the agenda today? What agency are y'all going to mothball today?
Well, today I got a meeting with the speaker here in a little bit, and then we'll be voting a little bit this afternoon. Got a couple appropriations meetings as we ramp up on the appropriations front.
We've got the
We're
spreadsheet.
talking through the reconciliation process as well, and then next week we're going to have our first Doge subcommittee. I'm on the subcommittee for Doge now, and so that's coming up next week. So we'll be prepping for a couple of hearings that are coming up next week. One regarding sanctuary cities, one regarding some of the waste, fraud, and abuse we see in our government, and so just continue to push forward on these fronts. And of course, work the legislation that we're introducing as well.
That's awesome.
What are you expecting? Any surprises from the Doge committee that hasn't already been released on Twitter or X by Elon Musk? It just seems.
Well, there's been a lot of stuff come out with USAID, but that's really such a small part of the federal government. It's impactful, but when you're looking at dollar figures, we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely.
When it comes to the waste, fraud, abuse, the basically money laundering that's been going on the taxpayers' dime through the federal government.
You would think that both parties would be excited about anything that reduces the size of the federal government, returns power to the states, does away with indiscriminate cash waste. They would both be excited, but it seems to me, in stereotype, that the left is like, they've gotten into our cookie jar where we keep all the money for all the little pet projects we have, all the pork that we've established. By the way, did you have anything like, did you have any side money in your DEI bill? Is it like, does any, money come down to Victoria County in that bill, or is it simply only about DEI?
Yeah, no, it's about eliminating DEI.
Wow. What a wasted opportunity, Mike. Wasted opportunity. You could have got us some pork in there. The Democrats have been doing it for centuries.
What amazed me was the money of because all the Democrats have said, USAID, that's all our foreign aid. That's us doing good around the world. And then we start finding out how much money that was actually coming back into the United States.
Yeah. Well, and they were setting up these organizations throughout the world to come back and put pressure on the U.S. So they were, in a sense, setting up these organizations to lobby and to put pressure on, because you would talk to some of the banks here, and they were like, what's the deal with DEI? You're from America's perspective, we're challenging them on these fronts when they meet with them. Like, they would come and meet with us about the regulatory burden. I'm like, hey, I'm all for easing regulations, but you guys are supporting this junk on the other end of the ledger, so to speak.
Right.
And they'd be like, well, the thing is, in Europe, they're requiring this kind of stuff of us, and over here, they're requiring this other kind of stuff of us. And you realize that, like, our State Department's working to build up all these organizations across the world to come back and to pressure us in the United States to adopt these ideologies. And so it was quite insidious, and the shell game that's been going on with U.S. dollars, taxpayer dollars. And, it just makes you think, like, where would we be as a country? You got families trying to make ends meet, and we're transgender operas in Colombia, drag shows in Ecuador.
I will tell
pottery
you,
classes in Morocco, where I thought they were like experts in pottery already.
Two extremely conservative listeners, Patrick Strauss and Ricky King, both offered up general addendums to the DEI bill. One wants you to get us some funding for our community center here in Victoria, and the other is that you could put in some money for a new stadium for the UHV Jaguars. So we're just thinking if you could slide that in there. I mean, as the Democrats say, it's only $60 million. It's only $40 million. It's nothing. That's no big deal.
Before, I know you've got to run, but I want real quick. How high is it on the priority of Congress to extend the Trump tax cuts from the last time around, so that families don't get hit with more taxes?
Yeah.
But more importantly for me, because this is what gets lost in my opinion the last time, is the tax cuts were passed, but too many Democrats in Congress and rhinos in Congress didn't want to cut spending so that the tax cuts could actually, not add to the deficit. So how are we going to do that this time around? Will the spending be cut so the tax cuts actually cut spending as well and give American families continued relief?
Yeah, and to me, that's the biggest concern right there. I think you laid it out perfectly what the challenge is. I mean, the understanding is we've got to get these tax cuts renewed, hopefully make them permanent for the American family. That's understandable. Like, that has to happen, along with securing the border and, all these other objectives. And the thing from us is we have to, where I'm pushing is like, that's got to happen, but there is a cost to that as well. And we've got to make sure that we are finding the savings on the other side of the ledger and getting rid of this waste, fraud, abuse, craziness, restructuring some things so that both, we've gone, now it's like $2 trillion a year. We're spending more than we're bringing in. And we've got to get that down both in the short term and in the long term. If you look at what's happening in the bond market and everything like that, we're still facing a real dangerous fiscal situation if we do not signal to the world that we are making a change in our financial. We're making a significant change, of course, and so we've got to bring confidence to the U.S. dollar again, and we do that by bringing our fiscal house in order. So it's extremely important that be a part of it, and so that's the issue we're working to make sure that doesn't get lost in the reconciliation discussion.
Well, you've been ahead of the curve on this for a while, but is it maybe time to revisit the concept of the 1 cent per dollar reduction in spending? The idea of just, if we could just cut,
The penny
$1
plan.
out of every 100, it would just save so many billions of dollars. Why not try that again?
Yeah, we can't. I mean, for me right now, we need to do something beyond that because we have a unique moment in history right now, really an 18-month window and a once in a generation opportunity right now to tackle this. And so it's got to be big and it's got to be bold. And, we need to look at something closer to $2.5 trillion over the next 10 years of savings. And that would just begin to put us on the right path, so we'd have to grow the economy as well and do other things to catch up and make sure we're headed in the right direction over the long haul. Certainly getting rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse, we could probably save, Elon's right now saying something like $700 billion just in.
Isn't that
just in
crazy?
that.
It's just crazy.
Is that a year?
So-
$700 billion a year? Wow.
Yeah, we think so. I mean, it's
That's
just
crazy.
unbelievable what's going on. So,
I know you've got to run. We
I-
had a short window. Damon wants to keep me on the clock. So we appreciate your limited time this morning, Michael. Thank you for joining us on short notice, but I wanted our listeners to be aware of the legislation that you've filed. And when will this go to vote?
we got it through committee last time, but of course we have to kind of start the process over again. We already have 50 co-sponsors on it. We're working with the oversight committee again to get it on the schedule to work it through the process again. So that's yet to be seen. A lot going on right now with those and everything else in the oversight committee. So we're continuing to push forward and get co-sponsors and make sure it happens. So we don't know yet.
Stay the course.
So we'll keep working.
All right.
You're doing a great job, sir. We really appreciate you, and we appreciate your accessibility. Go be safe today, and God bless.
Thank you. Y'all too.
Well,
God bless
thank you, Michael.
brother.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. That's Congressman Michael Cloud, and I know I say it every time, and I know it's probably redundant and maybe even boring to you, but it's worth noting that I think we're one of the only venues in the region that can just pick up the phone and call our congressman and have him live on the air. And that's not his fault. I think that's a tribute to you guys. They know that there's an audience here. They know there's a group of people here that care about our country. And as much as I want to thank him for always being accessible, I thank you for pulling him through. There's a reason he calls. It's called politics. And it's good politics because you folks are here.
Yeah, the Daily Wire had a quote from Congressman Cloud on this bill. He said, quote, DEI was never about fairness or opportunity. It was a Trojan horse for left-wing political social engineering that fosters division, not unity. And they ran with that quote.
And the left never saw that because in the left's mind,
left wants to do.
it suited their agenda. So to the left, it made perfect sense. This is great.
Tammy says families aren't getting the tax cuts. Where are they? I can only speak for myself, Tammy, but my paycheck increased when the tax cuts went into effect. Also, because they were withholding less, the doubling of the automatic, whatever the 24 grand, where you don't have to itemize. Can't remember what it's called.
Oh,
yeah, on your income tax. The other thing is
there's the thing, and then there's the two thing,
But what's interesting? I talked to some local business owners, some of which have large operations in this community.
No, this has Longhorns on it. Be small. Look at that.
Yeah, we got a G.I. Joe that has a very similar shirt.
Yeah.
But what the Trump tax cuts allowed them to do was hire more employees.
Oh, no.
Which actually put people to work. So there you go. Peter McNally, next time ask him to answer our questions. Well, it's our show.
Oh,
had
Peter,
questions
not
to
the
ask.
McNally hour. Come on.
We had a 15-minute window, and we had questions to get to.
Yeah, we had questions to get to. What did you ask, Peter? I can answer it for you. I'll even answer it like Mike. What did Peter ask? I didn't say anything.
I don't know what he asked.
I'm
See if I
going
can
way
find
up,
it
way
here.
up, way up. I don't see it. I don't see any questions from Peter McNally. GOP buying into indiscriminate cuts. Ask Clabb to explain. I don't think
they're indiscriminate
I
at
don't
all.
think
They're
they're
going after
indiscriminate cuts.
they're going. I
No.
think they're discriminating against those that waste.
very targeted cuts. I don't know. Tammy Keeling, we'll just let it go. Very bizarre. Trickle down economics with increased paycheck from a government entity.
Well, any paycheck, because
Very odd.
the withholding changed. Anyway,
Standardized deduction, says producer
Thank you.
extraordinaire
Thank you,
Cody
Cody
Bauman
Bauman.
from
Yeah.
afar.
Yeah, thank
Which,
you.
by the way, Cody, let it know you're just as efficient when you're not here.
and we don't have to fog the studio when we leave.
But there is a big empty space over there, and we
There
miss
is.
him.
We do.
Our babushka.
Man, I thought the brother man was going to come rescue
I
us.
thought
but-
he was. No, I'm not unrescued. By the way, if you would like to call anybody, Peter McNally, give us a call. 894-4020.
Super Bowl Sunday, Chiefs, Eagles. Who you got?
Brian, where's the smart money this week? Except in
where's
your
the-
pocket.
Where's the spread?
Smart money's in your pocket. What is the spread on the Super Bowl?
I
Let's
saw a
go
bunch
there.
of over-unders on
NFL.
Yeah, if you're one of those
Over and under was
64 and a half yard receiving yards for Kelsey, I'm not sure he gets there.
I thought it was 59 and change, but
Oh,
you
was
may
it?
be
Okay,
right.
I don't-
Mahomes passing for 259 yards, over and under on that. And Saquon Barkley rushing for 125 yards, over and under on that. The latest Hall of Fame class was announced yesterday. Eli Manning. The big news is who didn't get it. Eli Manning did not receive the
I think he got
the
in,
call
but he
to
didn't
the
get
Hall.
the
no,
no.
he did not.
No, it
get
wasn't the
the
first
call.
ballot Hall of Fame.
That's right. He's not in. And that's fine. I don't believe, as much as, of course, I hate the Giants as a Cowboys fan, I also can't ever point to a time, except for one Super Bowl, where Eli Manning was ever near the best quarterback of his generation.
2 Super Bowl MVPs.
Well, yeah, they always give it. I'll give you an over and under right now.
Top 10 all-time
wanna
passing yards.
Anybody want to bet me if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, the MVP will be Patrick Mahomes? Anybody want to take that bet? If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, you're betting me that Mahomes isn't the MVP.
I would guess he might even be named MVP if they lose and they keep Saquon Barkley from doing anything. Well, let's say the
I
defensive
agree.
touchdown is the difference.
I am
So-
convinced that if the Chiefs win, I think the NFL absolutely wants the Chiefs to win, but I'm not sure. I don't believe in any way that the NFL is rigged.
Antonio Gates gets in, the tight end, probably deservedly so.
One
I think he kind of changed.
maybe the best ever. Who's the other guy? The Tony
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, Antonio Gates.
Sterling Sharp gets in, very good receiver, deservedly so. Quarterback Eric
finally.
Allen, defensive lineman Jared Allen, the others that
Shannon
get
Sharp
in.
lobbied for him for a decade. Put my brother in.
He was good.
No doubt, he was good.
You and I have talked about this before, though, and I agree. I mean, Manning played 16 years. His numbers kind of reflect that longevity as opposed to greatness.
He has a great name. He has a great brother, you know, and his nephew has now brought more attention to his name. I just don't think he's that good.
Well, and there's others saying, well, you know, Dan Fouts and Warren Moon were all right around 500 in their career. But you know what? I would argue, well, maybe you can argue, make that argument they played on worse teams. But
was he ever the best quarterback of his generation? That's
know
my
that he was.
standard. Is there a time? The only reason Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame and does not deserve to be there is because Kurt Warner had those flashes where he was all of a sudden the best quarterback in the NFL. Dan Fouts played for 37 seasons and rushed for about 8 inches. That guy just dropped back in the pocket, threw the ball for 8 miles, and retired.
and boy, was he good.
Boy, he was good. And he looked like
And if they
Ben
would've had-
Roethlisberger before Roethlisberger,
Yeah.
just big, bulky.
And if they would have had a beard when nobody was wearing beard.
Yes.
And if only they would have had a better running back than Chuck Muncie.
Chuck Muncie.
Good.
Chuck
Cocaine.
Transmission.
Yeah. But if they could have, if that was, I mean, the receivers that he had were good, but boy, they just couldn't. If you could stop their pass, you
Didn't
could
he
stop
have
them.
he had a Lofton, didn't he? Didn't he have a
James.
great tight end?
Yep.
Didn't Fouts have
Oh,
a
yeah,
great
he had
tight end?
everybody there. Great team. And when Warren Moon was so good in Houston in limited time, and even went to
Warren
Kansas City and
Moon,
had
if
good
Warren
years.
Moon had played the NFL his entire career, he would own every record in the NFL.
I completely agree.
He had the best
except
arm
for Super
I ever
Bowls
saw.
because
Yeah.
Houston was never winning one
Houston
with him
was
there.
terrible.
Yeah.
That happened quick.
B. Strauss says have to go with the Chiefs. The only team that gets more calls is the Longhorns.
My goodness. Pete Strauss, you have to turn that into a Longhorn bash. That's
It was funny.
unbelievable.
It was funny.
It was funny.
It was funny.
We love Patrick Strauss. Hey, folks, it's top of the hour.
It is.
We love you. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you tune in on Monday. We'll be here. Have a safe weekend. Get by Veracruz tonight and enjoy your weekend. Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.
I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through